Hello and good afternoon to all of you interested scholars out there in virtual land. I do want to welcome you to our second edition of the entry year 2025 JAMP Application Office Hours. We are so excited to have you here with us today to really learn a little bit more about JAMP, the application itself, and to really have a walkthrough. One second, it does seem like we're having an audio issue. One moment. Hello and good afternoon. I am testing my audio. Perfect. Thank you so much for confirming that you can hear me. Perfect. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in today. Again, we are so excited for everybody to be here with us today as we provide a walkthrough of the entry year 2025 JAMP application. If you do see on the screen, this is the entry year 2025 JAMP application. I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. Of course, of course. I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. If you guys have any questions or comments or anything just pops in your mind you want to ask about, go ahead and drop it down in the comment, and we're going to go ahead and answer as we can. And we're also going to have a short Q&A at the end of today's session. But if you go ahead and look at the screen, I do have the 25 application up and ready to go. We are actually going to go through section by section today. And so we're going to look at the homepage first. This is where any announcements will be housed pertaining the application. They'll all be right here. And if you see where it says view entire application, it will actually generate a PDF file of the application for you. So if we go ahead and start, it's going to take us right to background information. This will be your first page. And so you're going to indicate the undergraduate institution that you are attending. We're also going to require you to enter your university ID number. This is really for your JFD to really be able to connect your student application, your student ID with this JAMP application to make this kind of a seamless process for you. And so that is why we do need your student ID from your institution. And then as you see, I did list that my high school counselor was the one who provided me the information for this the JAMP application. And then we are also asking, how long have you lived in Texas? JAMP is a program for Texans, so you do need to be a Texas resident in order to apply for JAMP. So I did put that I'm 21. I'm 21. I'm putting that I'm 21 here on the application. I've lived here all my life, 21 years. And then you will go ahead and go to the next section, and we'll generate the contact information. And so this section, we're going to go ahead and have you put your legal first and full last name as it would appear on your Social Security card. If you do have a preferred name, go ahead and put that right here. My name is Tasha Freeman Savage, and I'm the JAMP Associate Director. I would put Shay because I go by Shay. So my preferred name is Shay. And then especially important if you have any other names that may appear. If your transcript maybe lists a different name, maybe you've gotten married, maybe your name does not match. So make sure that you also have the other name there that you may be referred to as at your institution. You will go ahead and put your email, your phone. Something to be mindful of the email here is that the email that's going to automatically be placed in your application is the email that you use to create your account to start the application. So if at any point this is not the correct email and you need to change it, go ahead and go to your account, the icon that says my account, and then change and update the email in there. All right, so you're going to go ahead and put your cell phone, your work phone. Please ensure that the number that you list is a good contact number for you. That way, if there are any issues or if we need to touch base, we're able to do so with an accurate number. And then you'll put your mailing and permanent address. The next section is the demographics section of the application. And this is where we're going to ask your more personal information. So you want to know your birthday, you would like your full birthday, the city that you were born in, country, state, all listed right here at the top. Your hometown. So this is where you have lived the majority of your first 18 years of life is what you would consider as your hometown. And we would ask that you go ahead and list that along with listing where your hometown is. We're also going to ask you to put the approximate population. So you might have to do a little Google. Should we put, oh, hi, Elena. I do see, apologize if this was already answered, but should we put our school email or personal email? I would list my school email if you check it often. If you check your personal email often, use that email. We are going to ask that you list your institution so we will know your institution. But if you check your personal email more often, use that one because we want to ensure that you stay up to date on all the communications coming out of the JAMP office. Great question. And so we do want you to go ahead and figure out what that approximate population is for your hometown and list that there. Also describe where you grew up. Was it a more rural area? Was it urban, suburban? Was it a military installation? All of these are options on the drop-down menu for you to be able to select how to describe the area you grew up in. And then also, what was the primary language that was spoken in your home? That is also something that is important for us to be able to include into your application as well. The next section is the sex, ethnicity, and race section. So this first part where it is going to ask your current gender identity, and it will also ask what are your pronouns? What do you want to be referred to as when we do engage with you? And you have the female, male, or you can decline to answer. As far as ethnicity and race sections, these sections are completely optional. They are voluntary. If you choose not to complete these two sections on your application, it will not be held against you. It will not be frowned upon in the eyes of admissions. You just do not have to answer if you don't want to. If you do, that information will be used as part of our federal and state reporting. And so it won't have any direct bearing on your admissions. It's more for the reporting purposes. And so that is the rest of the demographics section. The next section is the socioeconomic information section, which is a very important section. These questions really they really pertain to how you grew up, the environment you grew up, and maybe some circumstances that occurred to you. And so we are asking these questions because of the nature of JAMP. So JAMP, the program is for socially, economically disadvantaged scholars here in Texas. And so it's important for us to ask these questions to really paint the picture of if you were truly socially, economically disadvantaged and what are some of the situations that occurred there. And so as we're going down these questions, you will see, are you a member of the first gen? Are you a first gen student? And to clarify, that is if neither of your parents have attended schooling after high school. and that is here in the US and outside of the US. And so if they did not continue education after high school, that you would be considered first generation in college. And so you would go ahead and list yes there. And then the same thing for graduate. So did they attend a graduate program? Yes or no? You would list that there. And then are you a parent, a guardian of a dependent child? What is the primary language spoken in your home? Are you multilingual, bilingual? And then the following questions from here down really pertains to birth to 18 years old. After 18, you're kind of grown. So we really want to know what that foundational circumstance was. And so where was the zip code that it should be the same and correlate with the hometown section in the demographic area. It should correlate. Have you lived outside of the US? It's going to ask to explain where you lived. We want to know the household size, how many people are in your household. The household income, we're looking for the range there. If you do not have that information, definitely talk with your parent or guardian to help fill in this information with accurate information and not just guessing. Make sure you engage with your parent or guardian to have the accurate information there. This question as well, we want to know the estimated value of where you're living. And so there's a drop down menu there. If that's something you may need to Google or ask your parent about, definitely do so to, again, have that accurate information. Jennifer, I do see for the socioeconomically disadvantaged box, where can we write our situation? What is JAMP wanting us to describe specifically? Examples. Great question. So right there, in these questions, it's really just questions asking about different circumstances. We're going to get through in a minute where it's going to ask about, if you've received any benefits like WIC or SNAP or food stamps, or if you were a member of Upward Bound, TRIO, different support programs, family support programs, and then also undergraduate support programs that are more geared for socially economically disadvantaged students. And so the goal here is for you to answer the questions as they pertain to you. And then here, you are able to, in your formative years, kind of explain any special circumstances. So this is where if you've had, if there was food insecurity in your home, if there was unreliable housing. So if you were going from house to house, if you didn't have, pre-K, you didn't go to pre-K or any preschool. And so that could be seen as inadequate pre-literacy experiences. These are all things that you can explain in this section. It is 600 characters or less. And so definitely make sure that you're concise in explaining those situations there. Great question, Jennifer. And just to, elaborate a little bit more on this question is, please describe what you believe. Please describe why you believe you are socially and economically disadvantaged. And right there, you also have 600 characters to explain that as well. There's going to be a section where we can talk a little bit more about essays pertaining to specific things, but we're going to get there right in a moment. How can we add multiple languages? I'm only able to add one. You are able to add one, but there is a checkbox that does ask if you are multilingual, and then you right here will be able to select multiple items. So great question. It is a drop-down menu. You have to select that you do speak more than one to have the option to select more. I hope I was able to answer that question. So that is the socioeconomic information section. A very important section to the JAMP application. So read through those questions carefully and talk to your parents. This is for military service. If you are a veteran, or if you have access to a military transcript, if you had any time in service, this question is for you. You say yes. we are going to be requiring is the date of the entry, so your date of when your service started, the highest rank you achieved, your reserve status. So if you are active reserve, if you're not, we would like to know that information. And then right here, we would like for you to describe how your military experience really prepared you for a career as a healthcare provider. So seeking a career as a physician, how does that align with military? That is 1,000 characters or less that we are looking for that to kind of paint that picture on your previous experiences. Also, we would like for you to attach your joint service transcript, and that is the military transcript. You can go to jst.doded.mil, and you'll be able to, if you have a CAT card, put your CAT card in there and obtain the credential that way, or you would have to log in using your social security number. You'll upload your transcript there for us to review. The next question is about your parent and legal guardians. And so, do you have a parent or legal guardian information to provide? If you are a completely independent student and they're not your independent, their finances or nothing has an impact on you and your educational journey, you can say no. But if you are a dependent and if you require them with your finances on your FAFSA to provide and help you through your college journey, we would need the information for your parent. And it's also important and will be used because of residency. And so there may be questions that we may not know based on you. And so we can confirm that with your parent, their residence where they live, because they may own the home and different things like that. So it's important for us to have accurate information for your parents. Significant person information. So if there is a significant person who has had an impact on your life and your upbringing, you can definitely list that here. There are, you will be able to list up to 6 significant people in your application. And so that could be your spouse, it could be your grandparent, aunt, uncle, whoever had a significant impact on your trajectory and where you're at now in your future. Financial. So this is also a very important section. So if you do look at the screen, I want you to read carefully because this is a percentage question. We are asking you what percentage of your college expenses for the year were provided by your family and would like to see that breakdown. And so let's say your family is able to help with about 10%. Let's say your academic scholarships, you have maybe 75% of your expenses are covered by your spouse. Let's not do spouse. Let's do academic scholarships. And let's say you don't have any of those. Let's say you do have that, and then you have no loans, but maybe you're getting a tuition discount from your institution or something. And so everything that you put there, you have to make sure that it does add up to 100%. So if it's 100% financial aid, you'll put financial aid, need-based scholarships, you'll put academic scholarships. If it's not needs-based, if you're 100% loans, you'll put all that information right there. If you do not put 100%, when you get to the end of the application, it's going to send you right back to this page to make sure that these numbers do indeed equal 100%. So definitely make sure you're calculating that right. And so now we're going to go into a little bit of the FAFSA. So did you receive any financial aid other than scholarships? You'll put yes or no, and they will want to know Pell Grant, Texas Grant, yes or no. And then also work study if you also participated in that. Did you complete your FAFSA for your freshman year? You would say yes. So let's say that you're a true sophomore or you're about to go into your sophomore year, and and you're applying this summer and getting ready for your sophomore year, last year you should have applied for FAFSA and you should have your SAR, your student aid report from last year. Last year's FAFSA was 2023, 2024, and that FAFSA should have an estimated family contribution or expected family contribution, an EFC should be listed. And so, yes, you would put that right there. What was that? And then if, let's say that you're going in, let's say you're a freshman and this is your freshman year, you do not have a report from last year, and you're coming in and you're like, okay, I have all these credits under my belt. I'm going to apply early. I qualify because I have like dual credit under me and I'm ready to go to apply. You are applying during the 2024-2025 financial aid year. In that financial aid year, I'm sure you guys know, is completely different. So there's no more of that expected family contribution, the EFC. It's now SAI, which is the Student Aid Index. So it's a different calculation. And so if you only have an SAI, you didn't have a FAFSA last year, we would need that information listed right here. Well, right here as freshmen. So that would be the difference. And so if you have an EFC from last year, definitely make sure to send that in as well. If you already have your student aid report from 24-25, great job getting it done early and having it completed, because it is taking a very, very, very long time for institutions to process. So please, 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 if you have not started your FAFSA and submitted your FAFSA, do so immediately. At the end of this YouTube session, please go ahead and do it. It's very important. But if you do have any more specific questions pertaining to the FAFSA, the SAI, please talk to your JFD. If your JFD, you're not able to, please reach out to the JAMP office. That way we can clarify those questions. Next section is the felonies and misdemeanors, which goes perfectly with the financial aid section, because if you do have any felonies or misdemeanors, you will not be eligible for any aid that comes federally or state. You're going to be ineligible for aid. And so it's really important for us to know if you have been arrested or charged with any violation of the law, regardless of the outcome. Now, there are specific traffic tickets, violations of fine, $200 or less, that you do not need to list, but anything else, go ahead and ensure that you list them. If you are charged with being convicted or anything after the time of this application, it is your duty to ensure that you tell the JAMP faculty director as well as the JAMP admin office. That way we're aware of the situation. So the next section is the education section of the application. And so this is where we are going to want to know about your high school. So did you complete your high school diploma? What type of program was it? We want to know what school you went to. That way it's all listed. And then when we're looking for, high school transcripts, different transcripts, we know what school you went to and it will correlate there. Colleges attended. We are going to want to know any institution that you went and taken a class at. So let's just say you went to a community college and took a class or two there. We're going to need that transcript as well. And I want you to go ahead and list it, because it's going to be included in your cumulative GPA. And so we do want to know every institution that you have earned credit from. And we need you to go ahead and list that here. So you'll add them and they'll be right there. In that way, there'll be placeholders in the application for us to enter in your transcript when you do send those in. Here's where it's going to ask you your undergraduate institution. It's basically the same question that it asked in the beginning of the application. Again, to tie in your JAMP ID with the school that you're going to. That way we can ensure that your JFD is all engaged and it's a whole thing. So please ensure you have your undergraduate institution listed. This section is not going to show until you have put in your colleges attended. You're not able to select the terms and then enter in coursework, which is the next section. And so just know that in the application, you are going to have to complete, save, and then save to continue to go on, and save that information to access the next part when it comes to coursework, and adding your classes. The next section is education and training history. Do you consider yourself non-traditional? So like the military scenario we talked about earlier, if you're in the military at some point, you're not going to be considered a traditional student, leaving high school, going to high school right after that, because you had some time for military service. And so if you're a non-traditional applicant, go ahead and select yes. If not, you do not have to worry about this section. This part will not generate. But if you are, we do want to know those factors that have really defined you as a non-traditional student and how they impact your trajectory and your application. And so you would go ahead and enter that information there, 1,000 characters or less. Then you can move on to the next section, which is, have you had any breaks in your education? And so if you have, we kind of want to know why. Fully explain and also include those dates. That way they have a clear picture on when and why there may have been breaks in your educational history. Disciplinary action. So if you've ever been on academic probation, have negative standing with your institution for any reason, we do want to know that information. And so you would say yes if you have been, on probation, suspension, dismissal, yes. Any conduct violations, yes or no. Have you ever been sanctioned by the state licensure board or had licenses revoked or anything like that? Please be truthful in the answers. And so now we're going to go ahead and get to the next section, which is the employment and activities section. The first part is the personal biography. And so right here, do you have any significant honors or awards or scholarships that you want to enter to kind of showcase yourself in that light, showcase things that you've done and accomplished? If you have, we're going to go ahead and ask that you list that award, the time frame when you got it, where you received it from, and then a description of what that award is. And if you can, kind of why it's important to this application and why should the admissions committees from medical institutions be concerned with this. And so definitely ensure that you display that the best way you can. So then there is non-academic. There's academic recognition and there's non-academic. So if there are any maybe volunteer awards or anything that you've gotten where it was outside of the academics, outside of the classroom, maybe you've done things out in the community you were honored for. This is definitely things that we want to know. It'll paint that picture a little bit better about you as an applicant. We get to know you a little bit more. And so there's a section there for you to complete that. Leadership. Do you have any leadership roles? Kind of the same lines. We want the information where, what happened, how has this impacted your journey? Does it impact? Employment is pretty similar. It's going to ask the same thing if you have worked. Now, be mindful, this program is for college-age students, and so not every scholar is working or has work experience. So if you do not have any work experience, you can put no. You can put no, and then it'll go to the next section. It's not going to hold anything against you to where you feel like you have to just put something there. Don't worry about it. We understand that you may not have that experience yet at 19, 20 years old, 21, you may not. It's okay. Research activities is going to be along the same lines. Going to want to know what the activity was, the time frame, how many hours per week, where, and then a description of that activity. And it's also going to be the same for the healthcare and the community service with the drop downs, wanting to know where, when, why. And here's the community engagement. So you being in your community, again, non-healthcare related community service and volunteer events that you've participated in. And so like if you've coached cheer, you coached basketball, or if you've done things like that, definitely make sure that you include that in this section. And then this section is for meaningful experiences. And so out of the previous listed activities, you're going to go ahead and indicate your top 3 most impactful, and you're going to explain why. You do have up to 500 words. Again, it does not have to be the max. 500 characters does not have to be the max, but fully explain and be concise. That way we can know a little bit more about those experiences and why they're impactful to your journey. Essays, let's get to some meat and potatoes. This is a very big section and a very important section when it comes to the JAMP application, because there are aspects of the JAMP application like your transcript, your grades, those maybe test scores. When we get to MCAT, there are things in your medical school journey that you can't change. They're black and white. They're kind of just, you put the work in the classroom and that's what got spit out. But there's a whole bunch of gray in between the black and the white that we kind of want to know. We want to know more about you as a person, not just you as the scholar in the classroom. And so the essays allow you the space to be able to paint that picture for the admissions committees a little bit better. Because be mindful, when you are completing a JAMP application, as soon as you press submit, you are submitting that application to the admissions representatives at the medical institutions. They will review your JAMP application. And so take the time to think through these questions, be reflective, talk to your support team, your support, and see if, there may be experiences that you're missing. Be like, oh, is there, do you know of anything that I've done that I may not be recalling right now? Because sometimes it's hard to just think on the spot on a certain experience. Use your team around you to maybe pinpoint some things that could be really, inspirational to others, motivational, and really paint the picture on why you want to be a physician. And so starting with that personal statement, what aspirations, experiences, relationships have motivated you to pursue medicine and apply to JAMP? That you will have 5,000 characters or less to go ahead and paint that picture for us, your personal statement. Please do not wait until October 1st to start your essays with the application closing on October 4th. Give yourself time to really sit and think and not rush through these, because you want to present your best statements. The next one is your personal characteristics. So key aspects of this kind of painting the whole picture of you. So what are your attributes, really your experiences and really things that you've done academically that really qualifies you to apply to be in this program? So really any personal qualities, your characteristics, your lived experiences, all of it. What makes you you, and why are you so great? That's really what sums up these essays. Tell us about you and what about you is great. Why are you special? That's the essay right there. Now, if you do see, that one is 5,000 characters, and we do have a third and optional essay down here. This is the unique experience essay. And so if you have faced any unique circumstances, any unique barriers that you've had to overcome, this is where you should list those. I believe it was Jennifer who asked the question about if there's, any specific experiences that have impacted your journey. This is where you can fully explain, and you have 2,500 characters here to go ahead and fully flesh out those ideas, and really paint that picture. I know we're saying optional, but I would say do it. Really sit and think, if there is something that had really impacted you, please put that there. We do want to know about it. As far as the essays too, we will be having another session of office hours in July that is geared especially for the essays, and we're going to break down how to put the essays together. So if you guys have not submitted your applications by July, when that comes on, definitely tune in to learn a little bit more about the tips and tricks with the essay. The next section is actually supporting documents. And so this is where we do want to have a photo of you for your profile, and that's going to be seen by us. It'll be seen by the admissions teams and medical institutions. So ensure that the photo is very professional. We are looking for clean background, nice lighting for us to see your guys' beautiful faces, because this is a reflection of you. And so, no crazy angles or lighting or filters or anything like that. Just you and your beauty with a clean background, nice and clear. That way we can see that picture. And you'll go ahead and upload it right here into the application. And then as far as the additional support documents, outside of your transcript, we're also looking at letters of evaluation. And so if you have not been in contact with your JFD at your institution, please do so now, because your JFD is going to be critical when it comes to your supporting documents, as they are the ones who are going to be uploading these documents into the portal on your behalf. And so you definitely want to ensure that you build a relationship with them. You let them know you're interested in JAMP if you have not done so already. That way they can kind of walk you through trajectories and timelines with your specific degree program in mind. And so you need to be ready to submit 2 letters of evaluation for the application cycle. And so one of the evaluators need to be either your JFD or a university faculty member at your institution. I would say, please try your hardest to have that letter from your JFD. And for some reason, you're not able to obtain that letter from your JFD, you can reach out to a faculty member who can attest to your motivation, your willingness, and your drive to really pursue this path. That is okay. But JFD, please seek them out first. And then your second evaluator, it can really be it could be a faculty member, a high school counselor, or a teacher, maybe somebody you've worked with or worked for, a mentor, somebody in the community who knows you, who can attest to your capabilities of being able to be successful in medical school and your motivations. And so you will need 2 letters of evaluation. And so in the portal, when we went to, let me actually go to your supporting documents, if you want to check, this is where they will be held. And so once you turn them in to your JFD and they're uploaded, you will see them right here as they've been received. So we want to see 2 received here by October 18th. October 18th is the deadline for supporting documents to be submitted. Just a reminder, the application for JAMP is due on October 4th. And so there is a little bit of time in between to ensure that you worked with your JFD after you've submitted your application, that those supporting documents are also in by October 18th. So that is a key date for you. So after you do the essays, and you do your letters of evaluation, your your supporting documents, you upload your photo, we're going to go to residency. Again, JAMP is for Texas residents. So ensuring that you complete this section it is kind of key, because what's going to happen is that it's going to give an initial kind of preliminary determination of your application status based on these questions. And so your state of residency, what state do you claim as your place of residence is usually what it is. So Texas, did you graduate here in Texas from a Texas high school? You have to complete the first part to be able to see this and select it. But yes, you'll put, yes, I went to high school in Texas. Yes, I'm a Texas resident. And then after this, it's basically going to say you're qualified, you're deemed a Texas resident for now, a preliminary deeming of you being a Texas resident. And so TMD SAS, they will do the final review of your applications or your residency status to ensure that you're a Texas resident. But yes, this is where we can preliminary see it, and it will be marked on your application. Residency documents. This is where we would need for you to put your, if there's like a green card, if there's any kind of documents that you need to upload, you will upload it right here in this section for residency documents. After residency, you will be taken back to this page. And what this page is every time you have completed a section successfully, it will mark it. And so what you do not want to do is go through the application and put placeholders. Don't go to the essays and put a period there and then expect to go to the next line, because you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you don't go back. And you may have forgot to go back, but then you go to your certification statement and it's checked. So you have to remember, I need to go back. So that's a lot of stress. So just go page by page and ensuring that everything is accurate and complete before moving on to that next section. You don't use the placeholders. And then when we're all done, you will see the certification statement. All of these should be checked and should have a completed date next to it. That way you know that you completed it. It's an entirety. And then you will go to the submit button and you will click submit, and you have submitted your JAMP application for entry year 2025. So that is the JAMP application itself. Now, what I also wanted to show you all is the JAMP website, which you guys should all be on. You guys all should check it out. Make sure you're mindful of these important dates. What I do want to draw your attention to is the application guide. So what's new for this year, entry year 2025, is that we have actually created an electronic application guide instead of just a PDF guide for you, to where this directly correlates with the application we just went through. It goes section by section. So it has the welcome, it has your applicant responsibilities, it's going to show the deadlines, but once you hit personal info, it's going to be the contact info, the demographic, socioeconomic, military, just in order, exactly like the application just was. And so you can use this as a guide while you're going through those sections, and it will really help you be able to answer any lingering questions you might have, because it does provide a little bit more information right here under each section. And it will actually show you right here the sections to where you're not able to just put a placeholder and go to the next one. You have to actually commit to what you're putting and save and submit that section to go to the next one, which is very helpful. So please, please, please go ahead and use this tool while you are completing your application. It's a resource for you guys to be successful and have the information there. Again, if at any point you need assistance, we are here. Your JFD is here. And so after you submit your application, you submit your supporting documents, what you need to do is be monitoring the status of your application. And so Like when I said earlier with the email, ensure that you're checking that email often, because there's going to be communication sent out about different events. We might have more, Zoom sessions where you can come and chat about the application, or we are going to have more information about office hours coming out. We really want to be able to engage with you to ensure that you're able to complete it on time and that you don't have any lingering questions, because this program is so special. It's so, so, so special, but it's so competitive. And so we really want to be able to be a resource for you to be able to showcase yourself the best way that you can, for you to be considered for the upcoming 2025 entry year cohort for JAMP. And so keep track of your JAMP ID. That's a big one. When you complete your application, or when you start your application, you're going to be given a JAMP ID. That is going to be the ID tied to your name, your birthday, everything. So save that JAMP ID, because if you're a JAMPer, that's your ID. And then you'll go into the application. You are going to be able to check your application status. You're going to be able to see the items that may have been received, not received, any documents that are pending, when they have been accepted and placed onto your account. All of these things will be accessible to you in your application. And also messaging. If there are messages within the application that you need assistance with, you can, while you're in the application, you can go to the top and send a message, and it will go to us, and we will be able to assist you and send you messages through the application itself too. So that is an overview of the entry year 2025 JAMP application. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor. If there are any additional questions, or maybe items I may not have covered in their entirety when it comes to the application itself, feel free to drop them down in the comments, and we'll go through and answer them the best we can. Perfect. Okay, Tran, when is the personal characteristics essays, the limit essay change, the limit characters from 25 to 5,000? It said in the web page, but it showed 5,000 in the application. Personal characteristics. Maybe that's an error that's on the web page that we can check out and maybe edit. The length of the essays did not change this year, just some of the titles of the essays changed. So the character amounts are the same. And so let's actually pull up the essays. So personal statement is the 5,000 characters, personal characteristics, 5,000, and then optional is 2,500. So if you guys want to write that down, those are the only one that's a little bit less is the personal the unique experiences. Great question. Hi, should we submit SAT and ACT scores? I know it's optional, but it is highly advised. But is it highly advised to submit? Great question. So what I would say is that if you want to submit, again, it's optional, so we can't say you have to. If you would like to submit your SAT and ACT scores, you can. It will be included into your profile, which means that the schools will want to look. If you have it listed, they're going to want to see what that score is. So if you are confident in that score and you want to include that, go ahead and send it in, and we'll include that into your profile for the schools to review. Again, it is optional, everyone. It is not required for the application at this time. And so if you want to send it in and kind of make that application, if you feel like it'll make your application stronger in a sense, you can. Great question, Jennifer. Any more questions? Yes, if you have not done so already, please subscribe, like all the things that the influencers say these days. If you can go ahead and do that, that way you are updated on when we are going to be having our office hours. Um, we will be having office hours bi-weekly until the application closes to really showcase different parts of the application and maybe talk a little bit more in depth about the different intricacies. And you'll be able to hear from some former JAMPers, some medical school coordinators about the program along the way. For the letters of recommendation, can we have the TA from a lab be a person who can do one? Yes, that can be one of your second evaluators. And so as long as you do have a letter of evaluation from your JFD or a true faculty, full-time faculty member, yes. Now, the second evaluator can definitely be a TA because that is like a third party who can attest to your capabilities and motivation for this path. Great questions, Jennifer. Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and give it a couple more minutes. Yes, there are some great resources that have been left in the chat. So definitely make sure that you scroll through, copy paste some of these resources because they're great and they'll really help you and alleviate some of those anxieties and stress that comes with doing applications. All right. Well, thank you so much for attending our second edition of the Entry Year 2025 Live JAMP Office Hours. We're so excited for your journey, and we're so happy that you came here today to learn a little bit more and get these questions answered. Again, my name is Tasha Freeman Savage. I am the JAMP Associate Director. If you have any questions about the application or need assistance, please check with your JFD at your institution and also check with the JAMP admin office. If we can help any way we can, we definitely will. Thank you for being with us today. Have a great rest of your day.